Thank you. I now invite to his feet the Leader of the Opposition, the member from St. Andrews Southern.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to join in the words of congratulations that have already been extended to all of the 63 members of Parliament who have been duly elected and have today taken their seats in this honourable House. It is a good thing that we have managed to have general elections in this country with minimal violence. Especially one as hard fought and as closely run as this one. And it shows that what was once a scourge on our society and body politic is something which we can hopefully say is permanently behind us. We have other concerns about the electoral system, which we have already foreshadowed in public statements that we've made, and we intend to continue to do what we can to see improvements in that area. And you will be hearing from us further on that at future times. I want to just say for my own part how happy I am that over 403,000 Jamaicans voted for our members of Parliament on this side. An increase of some 97,000 voters over our performance in the previous elections, resulting in us doubling the number of seats that we hold in this Parliament, as can be seen today. It restores a significant measure of balance in the Parliament of the country, which I think is good for Jamaica's democracy, and provides us with a platform to move forward to achieve our goals next time round. I want to congratulate the members of Parliament on the other side, the 35 of them, who were successful and who have therefore formed the government, and congratulate the Jamaica Labour Party for its third successive term, which I believe is a historic landmark for that party. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister in his inaugural address at King's House emphasized the importance of the country coming together, of unity, and so on. And I think nobody in Jamaica would express a contrary view. Unity is strength, and we must all strive for it. However, it cannot be achieved by platitudes or just empty words. One hand can't clap. And it is important, if we want to build consensus around important topics, that there be some action, some actual tangible effort to achieve consensus. And the events that have taken place here today, I don't think augur well in that regard. We have heard from the Prime Minister that he wants to pursue the constitutional reform effort further. And we do also want to see Jamaica move from the vestiges of colonialism, which are still very much present in our existing constitutional arrangements, and achieve full decolonization, which is long overdue. For that to happen, there needs to be consensus around certain critical things that we regard as fundamental to this exercise. And we don't feel that any effort has really been made to achieve such consensus thus far. And I look forward to seeing whether or not that will in fact take place going forward. Within the Parliament itself, I would ask that the Prime Minister reinstitute the system of chairmanship of the House committees, which was established in 2007 and continued through 3 successive governments, including the first of his terms in the current 3-term cycle, but was discontinued in 2020. Yeah, I think that it is necessary. It is necessary for there to be more accountability for what the executive is or isn't doing, and the committee system of the Parliament is a vital element in ensuring that continuity. And having the government appoint the chairman of the committees to set the agenda and the dates of meetings and so on is not, in our view, consistent with the aspiration of accountability which we hear being stated on both sides. And, you know, a former Prime Minister, Bruce Golding, from that side was the one who instituted the mechanism of having the opposition appoint the chairman and chairpersons of these committees. And it was continued by the Most Honourable Portia Simpson-Miller when she was Prime Minister, and by Most Honourable Andrew Holness in his first term, and then discontinued. And I urge him to reconsider the discontinuance of that, what I think was the building of an important convention in achieving greater levels of accountability in our Parliament. Madam Speaker, Jamaica is at somewhat of a crossroads. We have managed through successive administrations to take our public debt from the perilous heights of 147% of GDP, which was where it was in 2012, to this year it is projected to have achieved the 60% target, which is embodied in our fiscal rules and is part of our fiscal responsibility framework in our law. Both sides can claim some degree of satisfaction in the achievement of that monumental milestone. Really, the heavy lifting began in 2012-13 with the new IMF agreement that was signed, a very challenging agreement which led to success in bringing the debt-to-GDP ratio down to 115% by 2016, and it has continued thereafter to now, where with a revision in the accounting protocol for GDP, the expectation is that we will achieve 60% this year. Having said that, what we have not seen is commensurate improvements in the standard of living and quality of life of our people. And all the sacrifices that have been borne by the people of Jamaica in running the high primary surpluses that have been necessary to achieve the debt reduction that we have managed to achieve must now translate into tangible benefits that the people of Jamaica can feel that they have derived from the sacrifices made. We on our side have espoused a set of policies and programs that we feel are necessary for Jamaica to move beyond the anemic, stagnant levels of economic growth, which have been a feature of modern Jamaica, and in particular over the last 10 years, and take us to higher levels of growth that can generate the kind of revenues to support investments in the people, social investments that are necessary in infrastructure and in our human capital that can become a self-reinforcing virtuous circle of growth that can take Jamaica to her destiny as a prosperous nation, as opposed to one which has achieved so many great things in certain areas that would make the life of our people more bearable, and where there would be a sense of hope and a sense that this country that we live on can give to our people what they need to feel comfortable and live a high and good quality of life. I close by thanking the staff of Parliament for the service that they render to us day in, day out when we're here, and even when we're not here, I know the work goes on. And I would also just like to congratulate our athletes who are in Japan performing at such a high level, bringing more gold, more silver, more fame and more fortune to our lands, and helping to reignite brand Jamaica in the area of athletics. We want to big them up and thank them for their service. And of course, Shelley Ann Fraser-Price, who has now ended her international athletics career. Special shout out to her for her tremendous career. Yes. And on a sad note, we lost one of Jamaica's greatest footballers in the last week or so, Alan Skill Cole. And I want to use this opportunity to express condolences to his family and friends. You know, as somebody who's a lover of football, you know, I can really say that he took the art and craft of being a baller to a higher level, and he will be sadly missed. And thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you, members of the House. I hope that we can work together well, authentically, to move this country forward in the coming term. God bless you all.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And my congratulations on your election to the seat of Speaker of this House. It is with profound humility and renewed resolve that I rise to address this Honourable House on this historic day, the swearing in of the newly elected members of Parliament and the swearing in of the members on this side who will form the government for a third consecutive term. Today is a reaffirmation of the mandate given by the people, a recommitment by all of us in this House to service, and a solemn reminder of the weight of responsibilities that rest upon us all. First, Madam Speaker, I give thanks to the Almighty who continues to guide our steps as individuals, but more so as a people. Without his providence and mercy, neither I nor any member seated here today could have reached this moment. I extend gratitude to the people of West Central St. Andrew who have sent me here, but to the people of Jamaica who have participated in the democratic process, whether or not they voted for me or not. That they have participated is the important thing. It is they who have established the government. Of course, Madam Speaker, I express gratitude to you and the rest of my family, and indeed to my colleagues in the Jamaica Labour Party, the tireless campaigners, workers, and supporters who have kept faith with our mission, vision, and movement. Honourable members, whether you sit on the government benches or on the opposition side, let us never forget that we are here not for ourselves, but for Jamaica. Each of us sent here by the people to carry their concerns, to amplify their aspirations, and to frame into law and policy the hopes and dreams of all our citizens. Madam Speaker, I extend congratulations to all members on both sides, those who have been re-elected, and particularly to those who are newly elected. Allow me to welcome the newly elected members to the House. Just yesterday, I stood before the nation at King's House and pledged to serve with vision, wisdom, and integrity in the third term of our government. Today, as we inaugurate the new parliament, the themes remain, but the setting gives fresh weight. For it is here, within these walls, that vision must be translated into legislation, that wisdom must be sharpened through debate, that integrity must be lived out in the decisions and in the actions we take. Together, over the last 9 years, we have walked a long road. As the leader of the opposition pointed out, we have halved the national debt, restored fiscal stability, created historic levels of employment, and halved poverty. We have built new infrastructure, increased wages, invested in health, education, and we have halved murders in this country, and we have brought crime down to 30-year lows. Yet, as I've said before, today is not about resting on our laurels. This new parliament is charged not with maintaining the status quo, but with advancing to a higher plane of national development. Madam Speaker, for too long, Jamaica has struggled with the legacy of insecure land tenure and informal settlements. Generations of Jamaicans have lived, farmed, and built on land without the security of a title, limiting their ability to access credit, pass on wealth, or invest with confidence. Informal settlements have multiplied, often without proper infrastructure or services, creating conditions of disorder and vulnerability. This is why I've appointed a minister without portfolio within the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development with specific responsibility for land titling and settlement. Land titling is not simply about paperwork. It is about reducing urban blight, enabling community upgrading, and ensuring that every new home rests on firm ground, not on sand, but on firm ground or swamp, on the firm ground of legality and security. Formalization also has a deeper meaning. Communities without clear ownership are more prone to criminal exploitation for criminals to operate. Formalization through land titling strengthens the rule of law at the community level, giving residents a stake in order and reducing the likelihood of their community being used as a safe haven for gangs. In this way, housing and land titling are not just economic policies, they are violence reduction strategies. To signal the priority of violence reduction, the Ministry of National Security is now the Ministry of National Security and Peace. This reflects our conviction. The task before us is not simply to enforce law and order, but to build the conditions for lasting peace. I'm happy that the Leader of the Opposition in his presentation pointed out, as I pointed out several times in this House, that Jamaica has had several successes in its development. One that I'm particularly proud of is that we have managed to eliminate political violence from our society. It's a major achievement. And it was done in a cooperative way. I believe that this generation of leaders also has the capability to eliminate social violence from our society. So while homicides have fallen to levels not seen in decades, we must address the underlying conditions that cause and sustain violence. And the new ministry of national security and peace will be focused jointly with other ministries on ensuring that once and for all we tackle this issue of social violence. The work to reduce crime is not only about saving lives, it is about changing the entire trajectory of the country. Every murder prevented is not just a life saved, but a community stabilized, an investor reassured, a professional encouraged to stay, a business able to expand. Madam Speaker, we are already seeing this peace dividend occur. The Member of Parliament for Central Kingston is a witness to the peace dividend in his constituency when he can point to certain developments taking place. So too, the member from East Kingston and Port Royal, where he can point to certain residential developments taking place. Once we establish peace, our economy will grow. I see the member from Western St. Andrew also pointing out that there are developments taking place. So, Madam Speaker, for the first time in decades, Jamaica is no longer the most homicidal country in the Latin American Caribbean region. This is a major change. This is progress, but it must not be a passing phase. The decline must be sustained as we not only root out the gangs, but also transform the communities where they once had safe havens. By removing their habitat and changing the conditions, volatile communities, and indeed all of Jamaica, can become safer and more prosperous. Indeed, Jamaicans will be able to sleep with their windows and doors open. It is an ambition, an aspiration from which we must not resile. As we succeed in driving down murders, and we seek to reap the peace dividends, we're seeing increased investments as capital flows into safer, more predictable communities and environment. Businesses can look forward to higher profits as they are no longer burdened with extortion and the high cost of security. But most importantly, peace and a reduction in crime encourages our best and brightest to remain here in Jamaica. It reduces the brain drain and secures the human resources necessary for the development of the country. This Parliament must therefore see violence reduction as central to our economic future. It is not a matter of security alone. It is key to unlocking our prosperity. And therefore, when it comes to the strategies for violence reduction, I again call for a non-partisan, non-political space to be created where we can work collectively and jointly to reduce, if not eliminate, social violence in our society. Yes, it is worthy of applause. Just over a decade ago, we set out to restore economic stability and put our country on a sustainable path. Today, we can say with confidence that we have achieved what we set out to do. Our debt-to-GDP ratio is now approaching 60%, 2 years ahead of schedule. Inflation is stable, reserves are strong, and our fiscal accounts are among the most disciplined in the world. With stability secured, the next step is growth. In this term, the government will be engaged in crafting a new medium-term economic plan, one designed not just to preserve discipline, but to unlock opportunity. This plan will focus on boosting long-term growth and productivity, deepening financial inclusion and resilience, and strengthening social protection for vulnerable households. It will seek the right balance, fiscal responsibility, alongside catalytic investments in infrastructure, human capital, and innovation. The Leader of the Opposition, in his presentation, made an observation that though we have achieved these significant things, reduction in debt, increased expenditure in infrastructure, there are many Jamaicans who are not seeing this translated into a substantial improvement in their quality of life. And this will always give opportunity for political advantage. But once the political competition has ended, we must all refocus our effort on the practical, the reality. I believe we all want to see a substantial improvement in the quality of life. We had a competition of ideas for this. Now, let us ensure that the best ideas are formed into policy and law and implemented effectively and efficiently so that the people can truly get the improvement in the quality of life that they deserve. So yes, there has to be a balance between the fiscal management and expenditure on creating social safety net, welfare, and promoting growth. It is this House, through debate, through exchange of ideas, through collaboration, that will determine what that balance is. And each of us must recognize our role in determining this delicate balance. Because if the delicate balance is not achieved, we risk going back to the dark days when this economy struggled to deliver the very benefits that we now are preaching that we can achieve for the people. So the balance, Madam Speaker, is important. So this Parliament must therefore continue to support investments in education, innovation, and technology to increase national productivity. Our creative and ambitious young people must be equipped to thrive in the digital economy. Our systems of government must work faster and more transparently. Through the SPEED program, we will reduce red tape, digitize processes, and eliminate inefficiencies that frustrate growth and breed corruption. But let us be clear, productivity is not only about individuals working harder. It is about creating the enabling environment in which efficiency is possible, but more importantly, where effort is rewarded. Two important things that we should take from that statement, Madam Speaker, is that productivity has to be a focus of the new administration, of the government, of the entire Parliament. And secondly, we have to move to more performance-based systems. There is a lot of empty talk about growth, but growth is a matter almost wholly and solely about how much more can you produce? And until the minds of our parliamentarians, our policymakers are focused on this question, how much more can we produce? And put the systems in place to encourage greater production, then it is only mere rhetoric about growth. So, Madam Speaker, that is why we have, as I've said, put in place SPEED, our program to reduce red tape, digitize processes, greater networking, and build cross-cutting systems to ensure that we can increase productivity in this country. Madam Speaker, infrastructure is critical to growth. And we have been investing heavily in infrastructure, no doubt. I think if any analysis were to be done, we would have to conclude that this government has probably, more than any other government in the last 50 years, would have spent more on infrastructure development. But I must address a matter of national concern. The South Coast Highway Improvement Project in St. Thomas, one of the infrastructure projects which is so important. This project is more than asphalt and concrete. It is a statement of equity. For generations, the people of St. Thomas have felt neglected, cut off, left behind. The highway is a promise that no parish will remain on the margins of national development. During the campaign, and as I toured the country, it was clear that there were parishes that felt that they were left off, left out, ignored. Madam Speaker, infrastructure, bringing infrastructure to all the parishes in Jamaica does help to strengthen the sense of national unity, that I am a part of the growth and development. And so we have put forward not just national plans, but parish-based plans, local plans that will ensure that every square inch of Jamaica will benefit from the infrastructure investment and the growth. And we use St. Thomas as the first example of this kind of investment. And I see the member from South Trelawney saying, please hurry up and come to Trelawney. And I'm sure every member here, certainly members from Westmoreland and Hanover and Clarendon, particularly the northern sections of Clarendon, would all be saying, please hurry up and bring the infrastructure development to my neck of the woods. And we acknowledge that the dividends of peace, which results in greater space in our budget, that has to be spread equitably, both in terms of the social structure of the country, but also in terms of the geographic allocations. Yet, Madam Speaker, the South Coast Road Improvement Project has unfortunately been marred by interference, intimidation, and attempts by individuals to unlawfully insert themselves into the works. I bring it here, Madam Speaker, because it is important to set the policy, the procedures, and the standards so that there is no ambiguity. The government has made it clear, and I repeat it here in this House, that no one has the authority to hijack national projects, intimidate contractors, or substitute political muscle for lawful governance. That way, thank God. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you for the assurance. That way of doing things is the old politics. It is the very political violence that we celebrate that we have gotten rid of. And we can't return to it at all. Now, where jobs, you know, we have had a practice established many years ago that members of parliament must be notified in writing about projects in their constituency. And I'm sure every member of parliament, including the new ones that are coming in, you would want that to be the case. That every project in your constituency, and I'm speaking it here for the heads of agencies who are here, that you must alert, notify members of parliament about things that you're doing in their constituency. That must be the case. There has also been a long-standing convention that where these projects or programs generate employment, that a privilege is extended. I'm not going to say a courtesy, but a privilege is extended to the member of parliament to recommend persons to work. And there is even a further convention of asking the members of parliament to recommend liaisons. And it has worked well. We have not had any challenges with it. But we have to be practical. Where projects are already in train, and especially on the South Coast Road Improvement Project, which is deep in train, that any disruption or disturbance would not be in the national interest. Yeah, it would not be in the national interest. And in any event, I want to assure members of parliament that this administration is not about trying to deprive MPs of the privileges that are established in conventions. No. But this administration is about order. It is about ensuring that systems are in place that work to preserve and protect public resources. And so I want to just make it absolutely clear here that there must not be, it will not be countenanced, and where it crosses the law to become an illegal or criminal act, the government will pursue. Madam Speaker, honourable members, if this House is to be a part of the engine of growth and development, the Leader of the Opposition says, must be growth. I have said there must be growth. If this House is to be part of the engine of growth, then its members must operate with the highest standards of efficiency and productivity and integrity and accountability. That is why during this term we will advance the process to formally institute job descriptions. This reform will make clear what the public rightly expects its elected representatives to do: regular attendance and active participation in sittings and committees, diligent oversight of ministries and agencies, transparent and ethical use of public resources, and continuous visible engagement with constituents. It will also create a framework to measure performance, improve accountability, and strengthen public trust in institutions. This is not about restricting members, It is about elevating the standards of service. It is about ensuring that every seat in this House is not just occupied, but actively contributing to Jamaica's progress and prosperity. This third term is not about legacy, it is about destiny. It is not about what I leave behind, but what Jamaica must achieve. And what Jamaica must achieve is nothing less than greatness. Jamaica must end absolute poverty in the land. And we can do it. We can build a Jamaica where every family has access to housing and secure title to their property. We can build a Jamaica where the infrastructure is first class and opens opportunities in all our parishes. We can build a Jamaica where our bureaucracy does not frustrate enterprise. We can build a Jamaica where peace replaces violence and order replaces disorder. We can build a Jamaica that takes its rightful place among the leading nations of the world. Madam Speaker, honorable members, this is not a task for one party or one side of the House. The elections are over. The time for the contest has passed. And I dare say, Madam Speaker, the time has come for cooperation, for partnership, for unity in the national interest. I extend once again my hand of partnership to the opposition parliamentarians. Let us together complete the journey to republic status. Let us work together to reduce violence. Let us work together to strengthen our economy, strengthen our institutions, raise the standard of living for all Jamaicans, and to deliver real results for the people. Madam Speaker, the strength of any parliament lies not merely in the force of argument, but in its civility. Civility, Madam Speaker, is sometimes absent from our conduct. And as we go into a new term, into a new parliamentary session, it behooves all of us to remember that the society is watching us, and we are the exemplars. We are the role models. We must never lose our civility. Madam Speaker, debate at its noblest is not combat. I will repeat that for some members here to ruminate on. Debate at its noblest is not combat. It's not fighting, but dialogue of conviction, where truth is tested, yes, but not trampled. And persuasion is achieved through reason rather than rancor. If we lose civility, we lose the very essence of our democracy. For cooperation is not weakness, but wisdom. And respect across the aisle does not diminish one's position. It elevates the dignity of this House. Let us remember, the people did not send us here to perform discord, but to deliberate on their behalf with clarity of mind and charity of spirit. My fellow Jamaicans, my colleagues in the House, we are a people small in number, but tall in influence, rich in culture, and boundless in potential. Let us not be paralyzed by doubt, distracted by cynicism, or divided by partisanship. Let us instead seize the horizon before us with faith, vision, discipline, hard work, and continued prayers. May God bless you all. May God bless this honorable House. And may God bless Jamaica, land we love.
Thank you. I now invite to his feet the Leader of the Opposition, the member from St. Andrews Southern.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to join in the words of congratulations that have already been extended to all of the 63 members of Parliament who have been duly elected and have today taken their seats in this honourable House. It is a good thing that we have managed to have general elections in this country with minimal violence. Especially one as hard fought and as closely run as this one. And it shows that what was once a scourge on our society and body politic is something which we can hopefully say is permanently behind us. We have other concerns about the electoral system, which we have already foreshadowed in public statements that we've made, and we intend to continue to do what we can to see improvements in that area. And you will be hearing from us further on that at future times. I want to just say for my own part how happy I am that over 403,000 Jamaicans voted for our members of Parliament on this side. An increase of some 97,000 voters over our performance in the previous elections, resulting in us doubling the number of seats that we hold in this Parliament, as can be seen today. It restores a significant measure of balance in the Parliament of the country, which I think is good for Jamaica's democracy, and provides us with a platform to move forward to achieve our goals next time round. I want to congratulate the members of Parliament on the other side, the 35 of them, who were successful and who have therefore formed the government, and congratulate the Jamaica Labour Party for its third successive term, which I believe is a historic landmark for that party. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister in his inaugural address at King's House emphasized the importance of the country coming together, of unity, and so on. And I think nobody in Jamaica would express a contrary view. Unity is strength, and we must all strive for it. However, it cannot be achieved by platitudes or just empty words. One hand can't clap.
Please stand for the arrival of His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and prayer.
I invite us to pray together. Sovereign architect of this our island home, faithful guide of the past, present, and future of our nation, we praise you for your leading in our democracy. Today, Lord, we come placing before you your chosen servants, ministers of state and parliamentary secretary. I pray, Lord, that you will make them strong, make them towers of wisdom, complement their abilities and competencies with your divine strength. O Lord, make them calm in distress, and in danger, make them bold. Lift them up when they're down, strengthen them when they're weak. I pray today that you'll grant them exceptional acumen to execute the intricacies of their duties. O Lord, affirm them with confidence so that as they face their Goliath of challenges, they will exit their days victoriously like little David. Help them to stand tall as team players, as teamwork makes the dream work. And, O Lord, in reference to Quincy Adams, may they as leaders, by their actions, they inspire others to dream more, to learn more, and to become more. I pray that you will be their helper. And, Lord, they will be the feet for the lame, the eyes, for the blind, the voice for the voiceless, food for the hungry, and water for the thirsty. O Lord, be their helper, I pray. Help them not just to rightly do things, but to do the right things. Make them persons who will not be bought or sold. Persons who in their inmost souls are true and honest, who will not fear to call wrong by its right name, and men and women whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle is to the pole. Grant them, O Heavenly Father, inspiration, and may they have impenetrable network of support. May they never feel alone. Mediate in their different transactions. Favor their staff and assistants with your grace, O God. Bless their families, and with eagle eyes we pray that you will watch over their children. Be their helper. Validate them as chosen servants. Help them to serve not just with diplomacy but with dignity, not just with precision but with praise, not just with intellect but with insight, and not just with figures but with your favor. I pray, O Lord, that as we establish them as our leaders at this swearing-in ceremony, consequent of their stellar service, Jamaica will better increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, playing her part in the advancing of the welfare of the whole human race. So bless them, I pray. May you be beneath them to uplift them, beside them to guide them, above them to protect them, and within them to strengthen and lead them to a better Jamaica. This is our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
You may be seated. His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, will now address us, after which the Governor-General Secretary, Major Dwayne Hill, will read the instruments to appoint the State Ministers and the Parliamentary Secretary. Your Excellency.
Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Horace Strang, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security and Peace, Cabinet Ministers, Senator the Honorable Tom Tavares Finson, President of the Senate, Senators and Members of Parliament, the Honorable Audrey Cyril, Cabinet Secretary, Ministers Designate, and Parliamentary Secretary Designate, Dr. Merrick Walker, President of the East Jamaica Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, specially invited guests, guests joining us on the different media platform, and ladies and gentlemen, greetings. Today we gather to swear in what is perhaps the last set of ministers of state and a parliamentary secretary who will serve in the government of Jamaica for the next 5 years. By this appointment, you are entrusted with responsibilities that strengthen the executive arm of our government and contribute to the delivery of excellent service to our citizens. This ceremony is more than symbolic. By taking the oath of allegiance and the oath of office, you solemnly pledge to serve with integrity, to rise above personal ambition or partisan interests, and to ensure that the initiatives of government redound to the benefit of all Jamaicans. As Ministers of State and Parliamentary Secretary, your mandate is to support the ministers of the respective portfolio to lead as you are assigned and to implement programs to engage communities. Also, you are called upon to translate policy into meaningful action, thereby enabling transformation across the entire nation. This requires diligence, respect for process, and an unwavering commitment to public service. I remind you that leadership in government demands the highest standards of accountability, transparency, and fairness. Let your stewardship earn public trust through consistent action, principled leadership, and responsiveness to our people. Your appointment is not merely a personal accolade. It is a call to national service. Approach it with humility, compassion, and seriousness of purpose. Challenges will come, but the privilege of contributing to Jamaica's progress is far greater. May your tenure be marked by focus, discernment, and devotion to this land we love, and may Almighty God guide your steps all the way to success. Thank you. The Governor General Secretary will now read the instrument of your appointment. I will then invite the Ministers Designate and the Parliamentary Secretary Designate to take and subscribe to the Oath of Allegiance and the Oath of Office.
To Senator Abka Lincoln Ramon Fitzhenley, Mr. Orlando Nathaniel Terrilong, Mrs. Juliet Samantha Cuthbert Flynn, Mr. Franklin Robert Witter, Mr. Xavier Taze Main, Mr. Delano Orlando Seavright, Mrs. Marissa Colleen Dalrymple Philibert, Miss Kerencia Alicia Morrison, Miss Crystal Kerry-Ann Lee, Mr. Delroy Hugh Williams, Miss Rhoda Moy Crawford, Mr. Donovan St. Ledger Williams, and Miss Tova Tene Hamilton. Greetings. Whereas there is occasion for the appointment of a minister other than the Prime Minister, now therefore I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, in exercise of the power conferred on me by subsection 1 of section 70 of the Constitution of Jamaica, and in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister, do hereby appoint you, being a member of the Senate and members of the House of Representatives respectively, to be such ministers. Given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House this 19th day of September in the year of our Lord 2025, and the 4th year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. You may be seated. To Senator Marlon Andre Morgan, greetings. Whereas there is occasion for the appointment of a parliamentary secretary, now therefore I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, in exercise of the power conferred on me by subsection 1 of section 78 of the Constitution of Jamaica, and acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister, do hereby appoint you, being a member of the Senate, to be a parliamentary secretary. Given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House this 19th day of September in the year of our Lord 2025, and the 4th year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. You may be seated. His Excellency the Governor General will now administer the oath of allegiance and office.
First we'll do the affirmations, and afterwards the oaths of the respective office. Let us begin with the affirmation. I'm not sure the number of persons. There are 3 individuals. They are in your program. the affirmation. Where is it? Okay, let's begin together after 3. 1, 2, 3.
I, Juliet do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica.
Oath of office.
I, Juliet Cuthbert, being appointed Minister,
Secretary,
do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm that I will do to the best of my judgment at all times when so required, freely give my counsel and advice to the Governor General or any other person for the time being lawfully performing the functions of that office
for the good
management of the public affairs of Jamaica. And I do further swear
solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm
that I will not to any account at any time whatsoever disclose the counsel, advice, opinion, or vote of any particular minister or parliamentary secretary, and that I will not accept the authority of the cabinet, and to such extent as may be required for the good management of the affairs of Jamaica, directly or indirectly reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet, or the nature or content of any documents communicated to me as minister, or any matter coming to my knowledge in my capacity as such, and that in all things I will be true and faithful minister.
Thank you. Be seated. Now, let us do the oaths of allegiance and office. You will read aloud and insert your name as required. Begin after 3. 1, 2, 3.
Swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God.
The oath of office.
I, being appointed minister, do swear that I will, to the best of my judgment, and at all times when so required, freely give my counsel and advice to the Governor General or any other person for the time being lawfully performing the functions of that office for the good management of the public affairs of Jamaica. And I do further swear that I will not on any account, at any time whatsoever, disclose the counsel, advice, opinion, or vote of any particular minister or parliamentary secretary, and that I will not accept the authority of the cabinet, and to such extent as may be required for the good management of the affairs of Jamaica, directly or indirectly, reveal the business or proceedings of the cabinet, of the nature or contents of any documents communicated to me as a minister, or any matter coming to my knowledge in my capacity as such, and that in all things I will be true and faithful minister. So help me God.
Please be seated.
I ask that you proceed to the table to sign your oaths, after which the Governor General will present you with your instruments of appointment. Senator, the Honorable Abka Lincoln Ramon Fitzhenley. The Honorable Orlando Nathaniel Terrelong. The Honorable Juliet Samantha Cuthbert Flynn. The Honorable Franklin Robert Witter. The Honorable Xavier Taze Main. The Honorable Delano Orlando Seaveright. The Honorable Marissa Colleen Dalrymple Philibert. The Honorable Kerencia Alicia Morrison. The Honorable Crystal Kerry Ann Lee. The Honorable Delroy Hugh Williams. The Honorable Rhoda Moy Crawford. The Honorable Donovan St. Ledger Williams. The Honorable Tova Tene Hamilton. Senator Marlon Andre Morgan. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I now invite the Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, who will now address us.
His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, Governor General, Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Horace Chang, and members of the Cabinet, newly appointed Ministers of State and Parliamentary Secretary, the Honorable Audrey Sewell, Cabinet Secretary and Head of the Public Service, and other government officials present, Pastor Dr. Merrick Walker, President, East Jamaica Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, family members and support teams of the newly appointed officials of government, other special guests, representatives of the media, my fellow Jamaicans, home and abroad, good afternoon. Today marks another important moment in the life of our government and our democracy, when we witness the swearing in of Ministers of State and Parliamentary Secretary who will support the Cabinet of Jamaica. This ceremony is a public affirmation of trust, responsibility, but most important, continuity. But it is also a clear statement of renewal. Our government was returned to office with a clear mandate to accelerate the transformation of Jamaica. The people voted for performance over promise. And this meant continuation, because continuity is the scaffolding upon which progress is built. When we formed the new cabinet earlier this week, I heard voices saying, where are the fresh faces? Where is the renewal? I want to say plainly, renewal is not an event. It is a process. Renewal is not about discarding experience. It is about harnessing and transforming yesterday's lessons into tomorrow's strength. It is about distilling the wisdom that would have been gained over years, even decades, and using it to light the path for new journeymen to embark. It is about being able to use the knowledge to identify the pitfalls and to accelerate our progress. It is not about replacing one generation with another overnight, but it is about forging a living bridge between the wisdom of experience and the dynamism of youth. Your colleagues in cabinet have accepted to continue, not because they seek personal accolades, but because they are committed to ensuring an orderly transition. They know, as I know, that Jamaica cannot afford disruption or drift. The major reforms we have undertaken in our economy, our education system, our national security, our housing and urban development programs are all at critical stages. These are reforms that cannot survive political whims or administrative chaos. They need stability and continuity to reach fruition. And yet, these very stalwarts are also among the first to say it is time to prepare the next generation. Some have already indicated their intention to retire from representational politics during or at the end of this term. For good measure, some, and very shortly, all will indicate their intention. They have committed themselves to using the years ahead not to accumulate titles, but to transfer their hard-won experience, their institutional knowledge, and their discipline to the younger leaders who will come after them. This is the essence of succession, to secure the gains of today by preparing the leadership of tomorrow. And this is where you, as newly appointed ministers of state and parliamentary secretary, enter the story. You have been chosen not by chance, not as token of youth, not as ornaments to your cabinet stalwarts. You have been chosen because you have demonstrated competence, commitment, and capacity. You represent the reservoir of talent that exists in our parliamentary ranks, in our party, and across the Jamaican society. Your appointment is both a recognition of your potential and an investment in Jamaica's future. The ministers with whom you will work have significant experience. And your task is to learn from them, to walk across the bridge of experience and to use the light of wisdom to avoid the pitfalls and accelerate the pace of progress for the people of Jamaica. Observe how they lead, how they think, how they navigate complexity. Ask questions, seek counsel, earn their trust, and while you learn, my script says, do not be passive. Yes, do not be passive, but do not be overly aggressive either. Bring your own energy, your ideas, your grasp of new technologies, and your connection to the aspiration of the younger generation of Jamaicans. Renewal does not mean tearing down the old to build the new. It means grafting new vitality onto strong roots. Ministers of state may sound like a subordinate role, but in practice, it is a vital one. The government's agenda is vast, and oftentimes a minister alone is not able to execute it. Your work will often be behind the scenes, chairing groups, pushing projects across the finishing line, meeting with stakeholders, resolving bottlenecks, and the public may not always see you on the nightly news. But they must be able to see your impact, your value in the improved performance of the government. Your success will depend on your diligence, your discipline, and your discretion. I can't overemphasize this word, discretion. Learn the machinery of government, its laws, regulations, financial systems, and oversight framework. And I pause here at oversight framework. Not because you have now been appointed as ministers means that you will not have parliamentary duties. Indeed, in this peculiar formation of the parliamentary majority, ministers of state must participate even more intensely in parliamentary committee affairs and other activities of the parliament. But as you learn government, we expect that you will not only gain a deeper understanding of the rules and policies and laws, but we don't want you to use them as obstacles. They are guardrails, yes, but I don't want you to turn them into hurdles. I want you to become problem solvers and not trapped in red tape. I want you to become the spark and not become part of inertia, bureaucratic inertia. Where there is fragmentation, I want you to be the link that pulls the stakeholders and the agencies together. And where there is delay, be the hand that drives execution forward. Never forget that you are custodians of public trust. The authority you exercise, it's not yours. It's not yours innately. It is exercised on behalf of the public. It belongs to the public. And you have the privilege of exercising it on behalf of the public. Every decision you make, every document you sign, every program you launch must be guided by the highest standard of integrity. Do not be seduced by the trappings of office. And that is written there deliberately, not just for the ministers of state newly appointed, but for the entire executive. Sometimes we get seduced by titles and vehicles, and by now those things, the novelty of those things should have worn off. And the focus should really be on the achievements, what we can achieve for the people. Reputation is what endures. So guard yours fiercely, because it is the foundation upon which your leadership will be built. As you begin this journey, I want to charge you with 3 imperatives. First, be students of your ministries. As I've said before, learn government. But also be students of your country. Do not confine your perspective to the narrow borders of your portfolio. Understand how your work contributes to the larger mission of building a safe, prosperous, and just Jamaica. Study our history, our economy, our culture, and our constitution. Know where we have come from so you can chart a better course to get where we want to be. Second, be close to your people. Let me say that another way. Stay close to your constituency. Never lose touch with the realities of those you serve. Walk the streets. Don't stop too long at the bars. Listen. Listen to the concerns of the people. Understand their struggles and their hopes. Policy is not an academic exercise. I mean, Excellency, I have your permission to digress a bit. Sometimes when I read the commentaries and the articles and the the public commentaries in the paper, I wonder if what is written in editorials and articles would be the same if they had the experience on this side. What sounds theoretically attractive may not make sense when it is practically applied. To be clear and to be very quick in my caveat, it is still necessary to engage in the theoretical, philosophical, and academic review of what we do. But that must be also balanced by practical considerations. So, when you sit in office and review reports, remember that behind every statistic is a human story. So let compassion and empathy be your compass. And this is, of course, not just for the ministers of state. It is especially the case for the ministers of cabinet. Compassion and empathy. And indeed, passion as well. Let those be your compass. Third, be builders of unity. Politics thrives on competition, and I know this. The public looks on and they may feel, we move along quite stably and not with much disruption. But competition is high. As all of you who are sitting here would know, the competition is high. And that's good. It's good for the government. Right? There is not likely to be any inertia politically. But governance thrives best on collaboration. The challenge is that competition usually ends up being a selfish pursuit. And that diminishes the collective effort. So, you will work with senior civil servants, technocrats, local government officials, private sector stakeholders, and civil society advocates. Treat them with respect. Build bridges, not walls. Do not see dissent as an attack. There is no obligation for anyone to agree with you, even if you're right. But see it as an opportunity to refine your ideas. Go back and refine your arguments and come again. Jamaica's challenges are too great for us to be divided by ego and partisanship. Our government is strongest when your egos bow to purpose. When we set aside self, what I would want, what suits me, what is best for me, and work together. I believe it was Aristotle who said the sum of the parts are greater than the whole. It is a mystery to others, to many, as to why the sum of the parts, when put together, would be greater than the whole. And of course, there is this thing called synergy. It's the dividend that you get from working together in unity for the greater good. At the end of the day, it's not about you. It is about the people. And I emphasize that. So the truth is that the baton of leadership is already in your hands. You can carry it for only a stretch of the race, or you can decide to participate and hand it over at some other point in time. But the day will come when you are going to be running the last stretch of the race to the finish line. So we all have to be prepared to, hand over the baton at some point in time. And we all have to be prepared to receive the baton. Let us have no fumbles in the relay of governance. So that is why we are very deliberate about succession, and I've spent a lot of time speaking about succession and transition planning. I don't think any other prime minister has so openly spoken about this. But we are in a very unique period in our history. And we must be the intelligent organization that embraces it and treats with it with the sense of purpose, understanding, vision, and strategy that we have exercised so far in our previous 2 terms. Now, the task will not be easy, of course. Public life demands sacrifice. It will test your patience, your character, and at times even your spirit. But it is also the greatest honor to serve the people of Jamaica, to shape the destiny of this land we love. Do it with humility, do it with courage, do it with the consciousness that history is watching and that future generations will reap and benefit from what we sow now. So in closing, today you took the oath of office, joining a distinguished line of Jamaicans who have stepped forward to serve. Some were household names, others worked in quiet obscurity, but all contributed to the grand project of nation building. Now it's your turn. This government is not just about managing the present, it is about preparing the future. And you, our new ministers of state and parliamentary secretary, are that future in the making. I congratulate you, I welcome you, and I look forward to the impact you will make as together we continue to work towards building a stronger, more united, more prosperous, fairer, peaceful, more productive Jamaica, land we love. May God bless you and God bless Jamaica.
Thank you very much, Dr. Holness. Ladies and gentlemen, let us congratulate our new state ministers and our parliamentary secretary with a round of applause. We have come to the end of this ceremony. I thank you for attending this ceremony on behalf of His Excellency the Governor General and for your continued support for the new state ministers and for the parliamentary secretary. I am going to invite the ushers to escort the state ministers and the parliamentary secretary to the grand staircase through these doors and for a photo opportunity with His Excellency and the Prime Minister. Thank you very much for attending today and have a wonderful day. Thank you.